Lights, camera, boost.
Oh, I'm trying to fix my hair and she's taking selfies. No. Teamwork makes the dream work. Even when we're here, you still got to make sure you look the best. Oh, no. No, that's good. It looks really nice. Happy days. Welcome back to The Archive. I'm Lana Wilkinson.
I'm Rozalia Russian.
And today we thought we would touch on probably a lot of questions that we've received of late have been about motherhood. And I think maybe off the back of my little mum fail, which led to me having this epiphany that maybe I can't do it all, probably prompted us to have some conversations, didn't it?
Yeah, I think one thing that we are both so similar in and something that we've received a lot of feedback on is that we always put our families first and we're mums before anything else.
Absolutely.
So this episode is all about our motherhood wins, our motherhood fails, fears that we have as well for our children growing up, and yeah.
I reckon that's a lot of stuff to cover.
That is a lot of stuff.
We obviously started our first episode talking about how we met where we were both pregnant. Mm-hmm. Did you always want to be a mum?
I always wanted to be a mother. I come from a European background. So, having kids young was always, I guess, like the go. I remember when I met Nick, I was 19 and straight away I was the one who was like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. And I think a big part of that was because I had such a close relationship with my grandma. Yeah. My grandma lived with us. She pretty much raised me because my parents were working full time. And I really wanted my own kids to have that experience with their grandparents.
That's so great.
And also with their great grandma. So in Russian, I used to call her babulia.
Yeah, amazing.
And she was the one who would get me dressed for school, pick me up from school. Yeah. She would cook for us dinner every single night. So I have grown up with having that real sense of like generations of families and kids.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how special that you're able to have that, because a lot of people, like my mum's parents, for example, are a little bit older, so are my dad. So we were close, but I wasn't as engaged with them as that. So, I mean, I love them to bits, but that's so great that you had that.
No, I was very, very lucky. So I wanted to have kids straight away, and Nick was the one who was like, no, hold your horse.
Yeah.
Because I think he was worried as well about me having kids young. He didn't want me to miss out on my 20s, if that kind of makes sense.
How old were you when you had Willow?
I was 24 when I had Willow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were a lot younger than I was.
Yeah. So I was 24. So we got married and we tried for a while to have kids. It didn't come easy for us. It didn't come instantly. And then I remember when she was born in November, and I turned 25 in the February, so the following year. And I have the fondest memories of those early days. I think there's something special about your first child.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate in that I wasn't working at that stage. I didn't need to work. So I just had, I think, 2 years of absolute bliss. I took her to music classes. I took her to the park every single day. And I just look back at those early days and absolutely loved my first year of motherhood especially.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, they're only young for such a short period of time. Mm-hmm. Now tell me, did you join the mothers group? Did you do that?
I went once, and then when I was there, I was just like, oh my God, everyone's just talking about how they're sleep deprived and talking about their own kids. For me, I was like, I've come here to have a bit of a break and have, I guess like an adult conversation. Yeah. I don't want to talk about my own daughter, let alone I don't want to talk about your kid. Yeah. So I went once and I'm like, that's enough for me.
I must admit, that was my journey as well. I didn't do the mum group. My journey to motherhood was a little bit different. I was probably a little bit more like Nick. When Liam and I got married, I think Liam would have tried for babies that night. And I had sort of started.
I mean, can he blame him? Look at you.
Oh, love you for that. Is he listening? Love that. No, but literally, like, he was super dad. I always wanted children. I grew up with, quite a close family. My sister and I were very close. My mum stayed at home. My dad was in business, so we were very close. She was very hands-on. I think for me, I'd started doing my styling at that time as well, plus working full time. So it was a little bit daunting. But then, as they say, sometimes the world has other plans for you. And I remember saying to Liam, we travelled to New York. It was our first time. And I was like, okay, we'll try for babies there. And, you know, I say that very loosely because what people don't tell you is when you think you can do things, look, again, the world has other plans. So I say that with a disclaimer of understanding and respecting that it isn't easy for everybody just to get pregnant whenever they want. But fortunately for us, I was in New York and I just wasn't feeling great. And I was like, I think there was that time. I remember that time where something went through to the wicketkeeper and I found out I was pregnant when I was in New York. So we'd been there for the first night.
And how long were you married for at this
We'd
stage?
been married for 2 years at that time. So, and by that stage, truthfully, I was very much like, I want to do this now. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. I also want to be a young mum if I can. All the things that you tell yourself. And naivety is the best thing, isn't it? Because you've got absolutely no idea, even when everybody's telling you. And then literally when Ava was born, I was still working a lot. So I think I sort of put my feet down for like probably 3 or 4 weeks, and then it was into spring racing and I was styling people. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But I did have a lot of that time with her because by that stage I was freelancing and working my own hours so I could pick and choose. And yeah, it was great. And not unlike you, I feel like you really develop as a person and you really learn how to prioritize and understand what's important and not sweat the small stuff when you've got a little person to think about and be concerned about. And for that, I think that bond that you have with your first that kind of shapes you to be the person that you are is always that special time. So, and it was great. Like Liam is very much a hands-on dad. Like I think for him, when I remember coming out in that room in New York, we're in the East Village and I'd been in this little 4x4 and it was a little bit nerve-wracking because it was so unexpected. But I remember his face just being like, this is the best. And I think as women, sometimes we stop and go, this is the best, but oh my God, my life's going to change.
Yeah.
And it's challenging, right? But I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love the name Ava. I think you've already told me this story, but how did you come up with the name?
Do you know what? I'm really showing my age here. I used to watch Melrose Place and Heather Locklear's daughter with Richie Zambora from Bon Jovi. I think it was either Eva or Ava. Well, I'll just tell myself it was Ava, but I think it was Eva. And I just always loved that name. I always knew with Ava what her name was going to be. I was like, we also thought that Ava was going to be a boy. So
you didn't find out beforehand?
No, and I didn't find out with Elle either. So, and again, how lucky that we can be in that position. But I always thought if I had a boy, it would be Jack. I just thought, this is where I really showed my entertainment head. I loved this show called 24. And
never heard of it.
See, this is what I'm showing my age. It was this great show and Kiefer Sutherland was Jack Bauer and he used to save everybody. He was this FBI agent. Anyway, and it didn't matter how many times you said Jack, whether it was in a loving way or you were calling out for help, it just sounded good. And I was like, we could have a Jack Wilkinson, but then Ava came out. and with Al, I just always loved the name Al McPherson. How did you come up with Kingston and Willow?
Well, with Willow, I actually used to work at a kindergarten years and years ago.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That does not surprise me now that you say that.
Really?
Oh, you're very motherly. You're very maternal is how I would describe you, even with the way you are with your friends. I've seen you obviously with the kids, but now I know where you maybe got some of that loving from.
Thank you. But no, I used to work at a kindergarten and I remember there was the most beautiful little girl. Her name was Willow and she was just so soft and just like had the most beautiful nature. And I'd never heard of the name before. I'm like, oh my God, Willow, that is such a beautiful name. Yeah. And then Pink had her daughter Willow. Yeah, right. And I had a few different names. I really liked the name Katya. Nick was like, no one can pronounce that. Also really liked the name Lola.
Oh, Lola's nice too.
Yeah, except Nick's like, it's like that Lola, she's a showgirl. Yeah. And then my mum actually, she had a great suggestion. She wanted me to call her Ksenia.
Ksenia. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, Ksenia. And my mum's like, no, it's not Ksenia, it's Ksenia. And I'm like, Mum, no one's going to know how to say that. So anyway, long story short, we're on our way to the hospital because I was induced and it was like 7:30 a.m. in the morning and I turned to Nick. I said, all right, her name's Willow. I just had that moment.
Yeah, great.
With Kingston, he was unnamed for a few hours.
You just wanted to get to know him, see what sort of popped off the tongue?
No, we couldn't agree on a name.
Oh my gosh.
I really wanted Romeo for him. Romeo Russian.
Oh, how cool.
I know. I loved that name. Nick was just like, I don't know. It's just Shakespeare and...
Oh, it sounds very movie star, I feel like.
But he was also, this is going to sound so bad. He's like, it's a lot of pressure. What if he's not good looking? Oh. And I'm like, no.
Oh, with you two as parents, I think he was always going to be, and he's an actual stud, just quietly.
But no, Kingston, Gwen Stefani's son, Kingston.
Oh, yes.
And actually, Nick was the one who loved the name Kingston.
Yeah.
He thought it was such a cool name.
Yeah.
So that was his name. His full name is Kingston Walter James Russian. Walter after his dad.
Oh,
James
that's
after.
so nice.
Sorry, after Nick's dad.
Yeah.
James after Nick's mum's dad. Yeah.
That's a good story.
So both our kids are very similar in age.
They are.
Our daughters are 12 and Elle's 9. Kingston's about to turn 9.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this is actually my favourite age.
Me too. I always said I'd be the best mum when they're like little people.
Yes.
Like I was great with the hands-on and, but I love the interaction. Like I feel like now they're coming to us for advice. You're having full conversations. It's a really fun age. I agree.
And they're like your little mates as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Little besties forever.
Yeah, I absolutely love this age. But if we go back to when they were babies, did you have a great experience of them being babies with, their sleeping or just in general, like how did you feel that motherhood changed you in those early days?
For me, truthfully, I remember it was at the 20-week scan with Ava that I know that was the day I became a parent, which probably sounds silly because you get pregnant, you realise you're going to be a parent. But I think it became very real for me when I had a 20-week scan for Ava and they told me that she only had one kidney.
Oh, wow.
Which was really, at the time, devastating because I was like, oh my gosh, I've shortchanged my child and they haven't even arrived yet. And I remember I went back to work. I was working for Stockland at the time and I had a really beautiful lunch with a girlfriend of mine from work. And I remember just breaking down. I was calling my mum and Liam and I were just really rattled by it because we just didn't really understand what it meant. Every scan thereafter was just a little bit scary because I think I just didn't know. I was like, is this going to be okay? And everything was okay. I remember the nurse at the time saying to me, it's okay if there's going to be something. They didn't even used to check for this, so don't worry if there's going to be something, this is what you want, which is interesting because you'd rather there be everyth's perfect.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is I think I was only sort of concerned if she was going to be a boy because they say you couldn't play football, you couldn't do certain sports. So when she came out and she was a girl and she's healthy and, 12 years on, she's superb. So she used to sleep through the night, which was great. And I think I was better because I was in control. Shock horror. Somebody saying I'm a control freak, but I literally found that experience pretty easy. I think for me, the thing that I struggled with was probably trying to work at the same time. Like I think I had this fear that if I'd stopped doing the styling, that would mean that I would be irrelevant and that, all the things would go away. And I think what we learn is actually there's a reason they tell you to take that time to rest up and to spend that time, because when you have a little bit of faith in yourself, like when you've literally just birthed a child, like you've grown a human being, you can actually tackle anything. And I think they're the things I would say to any new mum, just do your best. Like don't put so much pressure on yourself, because there wasn't anyone putting pressure on me to work or do those things. But I think I needed to do that kind of to still have a bit of the person I used to be, because it does change you, doesn't it? Like I feel like it really shapes you to be a better version of yourself. That's sort of what I took from it.
Yeah. So with Willow, she was an awful sleeper, but that's because I had no idea what I was doing. So I would let her sleep during the day and then, she'd be awake up all night. But on the other end, because I wasn't working and I had all the time just to dedicate to her, I was relaxed and I really enjoyed motherhood and found it easy with Willow.
Yeah.
Then when Kingston came along, I was like, I've got this.
Yeah.
I nailed it with Willow,
Yeah.
so I don't need any help. Sent my mum home early and I thought, why not just get straight back into work as well? So a completely different experience with Willow. And enter at about, I think, 3 months when I just ran out of stamina and it all piled on top of me. I ended up with postnatal depression and it was one of the most awful times.
Yep.
And I felt like I missed out on him being such a baby as well, because I was like, obviously not coping. I wasn't doing well. I look back and again, it's an advice that I give to my girlfriends or anyone
Yes,
having a baby, take the time off. As much as you think
100%.
you've got it and you're nailing it and you don't need help,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're going to run out of steam and it's all going to come crashing down.
I think there'd be so many women that could relate to that. So go you for like being able to get through that, because I think when you're as strong as you are and you also gave yourself space and time, that you still had that experience, just goes to show you like nobody's a machine, you know. And I think that's something that I know personally I can relate to as well. With my second, I was like, oh no, I've got this. I can go straight back to work. I remember after I had Al, and I had both my children via cesarean, and we had private health insurance, so they give you the hotel at the Hyatt when you're sort of day 3 and they don't need to pump you full of drugs anymore. I remember doing a fitting for Fashion Week for a client.
So someone came to your hotel?
Came into my hotel room. Yep.
How did you get the clothes in there?
Oh, no, I'd prearranged that before I had, because I guess when you have a cesarean, you know what time. I'd actually had, truth be told, when I was pregnant with Al, so she was booked in for a cesarean at 9:30. I did the Logies the night before. I dressed 3 lots of talent and said, you'll have to have all your social. I'll have to do it all tonight because tomorrow I'm going off to have my second child.
Oh, my God.
I remember running into Jacinta Franklin and she's saying to me, how are you even doing this? Because I was in heels and, you know, with my big tummy getting it done. But I think I was just so determined that I could just keep doing everything, which, shock horror, even as early as the last episode, you can see, I can do it all. And then, like you said, it kind of almost comes crashing down. And I just remember really trying to conceal, particularly from Liam and family and stuff, that I wasn't okay. But Madeline Forbes, who's one of my bestest friends and was working with me at the time, I'll never forget this, standing at the door one day and she goes, you need to get happy because you're doing too much and like I can see the pressure that you're putting on yourself. And it only took, I think, maybe a day or two after that, I was driving and I got a little bit lightheaded and I went to the doctor. And I was lucky enough to get somebody who was in the GP's office, but because they're in like the army or the Navy, they have to do a certain amount of hours. So I had a man and he was great and asked me all these questions, spent all this additional time with me, and then basically said to me, like, you are on the borderline of having postnatal, but you're just pushing through it. And you're not down the rabbit hole because I'd chase you all the way down there, but you need to take care of yourself. And I remember just taking a bit of time off. It was like 3 or 4 weeks. And sometimes that's all you need, just a circuit breaker to get yourself back into gear and understand what's important. And I genuinely hid that from everybody. Most people didn't know about it. And I think it's so great now. I feel like we're in a time where you can share that exactly as we are now and own that you're not able to do everything, because what you've just done is this epic, amazing thing that takes a toll on your body and, you know, your hormones and all the things, and you're not superhuman. And I leaned in and was like, that's okay.
I know. I almost feel like on social media, so many, you see so many posts of like mothers, you know, day 3, day 7, and they're out at dinner and they're out, you know, with their newborn babies.
And they're back in their jeans.
And
I'm not getting in my jeans for 6 months.
No. And it's like for someone else who's just had a baby who is not there, like it can be hard and it can be confusing as well to see. But I just want to quickly go back to that night of the Logies. Where were in heels the night before you were about to give birth. If I really ask you deep down, how did you feel? Were you okay? How did you feel?
Do you know what I'll tell you is I'd say mentally I was tired. But, and this won't surprise you, I was also had this sense of achievement as well. That night I kind of stood and thought, you're a weapon that you can do that. And that's not to say that someone that can't do that is any less of a weapon. But for me at that time, I did feel this sense of achievement. After I had Elle, I definitely felt worse and more emotional than I did when I had Ava, because I'd kind of rested very much so, because I'd had those issues. I was a lot more cautious and conscientious of what I was doing. Also didn't have the responsibilities that I had by the time I had Elle. And I did definitely feel it, like everything hurt more. Everything was a lot more exhausting and felt bigger than what it was. So I'd say to anybody who's had a baby or in the process of having a baby is pregnant, it's okay that you're not 100 every day.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes even now, and they're older, I'm like a 50. But as long as Liam's a 50, well, we make up 100, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's the thing as well where I think I can speak for both of us. Like we married a teammate, you know, which I think is really important. But that's why when I say weapons, I think of people who are single parents and they do it on their own and they're way better than we are. I look at that and just go, you're epic. Like I think it's just don't be guided or be pressured by what you see on social media or those around you. Like I think the reason, if we talk about it from a business perspective, that we're successful in business or trying to be, is that we're only competing with ourselves. I only want to do better than what I last did. And I think that's the hard bit when you have babies, is you look around and think, oh, that person's doing that. But just be kind to yourself.
Now, quick interruption to today's podcast to talk to you about Bondi Boost HD shampoo and conditioner.
It's so good.
If you want strong and healthy hair, it all starts from the root. And this is something that I've been doing consistently.
Same here. I've literally noticed such a change in my hair. It is thicker, healthier, and just looks great. Particularly after having babies, I've finally got all my hair back.
It's the kind of thing that you don't notice straight away, but then after a while you're like, oh my God, my ponytail is thicker and I have all the baby hairs growing from my hairline.
I love that it has Aussie botanicals, no sulfates and no nasties, and that's why I never feel guilty about using it on repeat.
I really wish I knew about this product after having babies, because postpartum hair loss is something that I suffered from.
I really wish I had this as well. It has been an absolute game changer.
So thank you to Bondi Boost for helping a gal out.
You can grab this duo at bondiboost.com.au using code ARCHIVE for free shipping.
So now, to lighten the mood a little bit, how about we go through a few moments where we have failed as mothers in, let's say, a funny or like an, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that way.
Oh, I have too many to count. But I'll start with like a light one because at least she was still in care. I remember, so I was very fortunate, had an amazing daycare facility looking after Ava and Al. Like literally the girls looking after them almost became like my besties. I loved them. But there was a night I was stuck on a shoot and I forgot to pick Ava up from daycare, and they rang me and said, and I just went, shit, mum, can you get there first? I'm stuck in traffic. Because obviously.
What time was this?
You have to pick them up by 6:30. So it's 6 o'clock and then it's $1 a minute.
Yes.
It was 6:30. So it wasn't even about the money. Like I didn't care about the money. Like I was out working, so I was getting the money, but then I was just like,
you just forgot
like
about
the
it.
worst. I just forgot. I just got so caught up in it. And Liam's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I'm in South Yarra. I'm not going to get back to Moonee Ponds in time. I'm like, anyway, so mum came to the rescue. So that probably wasn't one of my brighter moments. And I think there's just the general stuff, you know, like sometimes, particularly during spring racing carnival, which is why even recently I had Ava's birthday. She's born right in the middle of Caulfield, so races. So I'm always either attending or I'm working. But one of the things I'm notorious for doing is like forgetting that it's like school casual day or, you know, thank God for the mum WhatsApps. You know, on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, they go, oh, the WhatsApp group. I'm like, no, I love the WhatsApp group.
Oh, see, I left the WhatsApp group.
Did you?
Yeah,
oh, no,
I
I
did.
need
No,
it.
I did.
So that I know what to do. I read the newsletter, but you know me, if I don't hold on to, if it doesn't impact me, I forget.
Yes. So I was all for the WhatsApp group. Like I'm just very direct. Is it sport day? Is it normal day? What day are school photos? Where is the link for the tickets? But then at one stage where someone's like, can someone look after my hamster on the weekend? Rozalia Russian exited the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is not for me. Yes.
No, my thing with exiting the chat comes down to like if it ends up being that you're like over and over about like a school cap or something, I'm like,
oh my God, just buy a new hat.
Oh, kind of, yes.
Just
and I don't want to sound entitled, but I'm like, I will pay to make this leave the conversation.
Or go to Lost Property and find, this is what my son did the other day because he kept on losing his jackets. I'm like, I'm not buying you any more jackets.
So I'm not alone there. Both of my girls are notorious for that.
He went and he's like, Mom, I got my jacket. I'm like, So I'm like, great, well done. I looked at the jacket. He had like Mitchell on there. He just crossed it out and put Russian on there.
Oh, I love that. So if Mitchell's in their jacket.
Sorry.
It's been taken by the Russian family.
But one of my, I think, epic mum fails was, for any kids listening, time to tune out.
Yeah.
my daughter Willow, she must have been about 8 or 9. Anyway, the tooth fairy. I just kept on forgetting, and I got to the stage where I'm like, I just
this is
cannot.
awful.
I cannot be asked being the tooth fairy anymore. I just kept on forgetting, like, because I would fall asleep before her.
I must admit, you must be rubbing off on me because Elle is still in the stage where she believes.
Right.
And I've started forgetting as well. It's your fault.
Well,
I'm going to blame you.
So one night, after the tooth fairy forgot for about 3 nights in a row, I just went upstairs and like, right, I'm going to have just a hard conversation. It is time for you to toughen up. So I get there and she's like, oh, hi, Mum, what are you doing here? And I'm like flapping my wings, being the tooth fairy. I'm like, here's $5. And she's like, what? I'm like, ta-da, I'm the tooth fairy. And she's like, what?
You've ripped her off.
She's like, you've been lying to me? There's no tooth fairy?
Oh.
And I'm like, no, there's no tooth fairy. And she was like devastated. And I'm like backpedaling. I'm like, oh my God.
Did she then ask you about everybody
then
else?
Then she's like, but Santa. I'm like, no, Santa's real. And she's like, and the Easter Bunny? I'm like, no, the Easter Bunny's real. Don't worry. The Easter Bunny. Yeah, the Easter Bunny is real.
You didn't throw a bomb on her and ruin it completely.
No, I'm like, there's a massive fairy bunny
Rozalia.
that jumps around. The tooth fairy's not real, but yes, the Easter Bunny is real.
Well, that's good.
And
Does she still believe now?
Well, I called a few people afterwards and I'm like trying to get reassurance that I did the right thing.
Were you trying to get reassurance, or were you trying to find out if other people had done the same thing to make yourself feel better?
Yes, and no one did.
No, because it's terrible. Well, terrible. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I left a child at daycare. Yes. Like, that's irresponsible. At least yours, you could walk your way out of it.
Yes. Well, then the other day, she's so she just turned 12. So the other day I was in the kitchen and she's like, she comes up to me, she's like, Mum, can I do the elves this year? I'm like, do what to the elves? She's like, I'll do the elves. I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, Mum, they're in the cupboard.
Oh.
I'm like, no, that's because they came too early and I said hide in the cupboard until the tree comes up.
Yep.
And she just looked at me like,
I'm on to you. I'm on to you.
So she doesn't believe in the tooth fairy because I ruined her dreams. She doesn't believe in the elves because I left them in the cupboard since Christmas last year and she saw them. But she still believes in Santa and the Easter Bunny.
Well, that's good. And she's very smart. She knows to believe in Santa because if I always say you don't believe, you don't receive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you can think of?
Yes. School concert year 1. It was her very first school concert.
Yep.
And I can't even remember the act or anything. I can't remember the act. I can't remember the name of the play, but I still do remember her makeup.
Yeah, right.
So they said light makeup. We did the Charlotte Tilbury face. We did the contour. And then I took a photo. She walks out and Nick's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, too much?
Too much.
And it was
I'm living my dancing dreams to my child.
Yeah, and all the other kids just had I think a bit of glitter on their cheeks, but I called Chantel Baker and she did a step-by-step tutorial.
That's what you do when you're Rozalia Russian. You just get one of the best makeup artists in Australia to do it for a school concert.
So I feel like that was a little bit maybe too extra for
but I also
a 7-year-old.
I also think as well, she loves glam now. I know that the girls they're friends, which is really nice, and they're all got their glam on. So I think sometimes too, that's not a bad thing, You're just trying to make her look presentable, babe. I wouldn't say it was that big of a fail.
Now, in case you hear any background noise, I do apologise. That is my amazing husband, Nick, who we love and is, born and bred hospitality. So he keeps on popping in whilst we're recording, asking if anyone wants a sandwich, if anyone needs a drink, because he just loves hosting and loves being around.
With the mostest.
Obviously, we both married and we are very fortunate that both of our husbands are very hands-on with the kids. I know Nick, for example, he loves dropping the kids to school every single morning. He will go to basketball practice. But I will say that very first few months of motherhood or parenthood, I remember looking at him wanting to just absolutely kill him.
And it's like, don't you reckon those days when they'd come in, is that all you've done today? I'd be like, oh my God, I've kept a whole person alive and I worked a bit as well. What did you do? You got dressed and you walked out the door. It sounds very stereotypical, but I think that's just the way it is, isn't it? It does, those responsibilities do kind of rightfully or wrongfully fall on us, particularly in those early years.
Yeah.
And then, but I'd say as the kids have got older, I mean, the responsibilities are definitely shared, but then there are new problems because I think we both realised very quickly that without the support of our families and people helping, whether it be that it was a daycare or, you know, school sports and things like that, that you can't both reach for the stars because somebody needs to kind of be navigating parenthood, like somebody needs to be on. So we've navigated that very, very well for the most part. I'd say where it hits fever pitch is like around spring racing, and usually before the Thursday thereabouts, before Derby, it's on. It's like, you're not here, you need to do this. And I'm just like, well, that's all right. We don't have to take you on Derby Day then, babe. I can take someone else. And then it walks it back, and usually just before Grand Prix as well. However, maybe next year will be a little bit different as we've taken styling off the table. But I think with the business and as it's grown, those expectations and the responsibilities have got bigger. So I think the key has been, though, is communication and a calendar that can be viewed by all parties at all times so everybody knows where everyone needs to be has been the saving grace for us.
Yeah, I think because these days most families are two-income families.
Absolutely.
So most parents work, and it's that hard juggle. I think my only bit of advice is that don't go tit for tat.
No.
Well, I cooked dinner yesterday, or I did drop off, or I did that, because I know that you really need to work as a team.
100%.
And sometimes I travel so much that I'm just not here.
Same.
And Nick is, well, Willow's the one making lunches. But, you know, but Nick's cooking dinner every single night.
Liam's the dinner and the food. I'm the cleaner.
And
then assigned jobs is a good thing.
And then there are other times when Nick is just working. It's like late nights and he's just exhausted and he just needs to rest and sleep. And it's like, no worries, I'll do drop off. It's, you know, you need to work as a team.
Yeah.
But I will say it takes time to find your feet and to find your routine, because early days, as I mentioned, I wanted to kill him. I was just like, it's not I slept like a baby, it's I slept like a husband.
Yeah. I'm laughing because it's so true.
It's true. I remember actually videoing him one night because he would wake up every single morning, be like, "Oh, I had the worst night's sleep." You know, this is like when the babies were babies,
and they're waking up 3 or 4 times. During the night.
And I was up feeding, and I remember once just videoing him and proof for the next morning. You slept through all the crying. You slept through.
Truthfully, I think I did that as well.
It was Sleep Like
me
Lana.
A little bit of video evidence. It's
good.
The
video
evidence. No, not sleeping Lana. No.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, you have said this to me before. You run on the smell of an oily rag. I can do that, but at the same time, like, your emotions are your emotions. And I think for me, sometimes that's probably the other advice I'd give is like, just park it. Like, don't say things in emotion either. Like,
but also just pick your battles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes. Are there any moments in your life where you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to explain this to my kids or say that to them? Maybe because you have girls.
I think maybe we've always had really like fruitful conversations, maybe because I've always been a bit of a chatter. So, I mean, I feel like the girls, the good thing I love about them is I feel like we're really got a great relationship going into this next phase of their life. I think I want it to be where it's a place where they can come and talk to me. Like, you know, I think I've always just tried to sort of arm them with esteem that enables them to have the confidence to be able to say yes or no. Because I think there are some things, I mean, we touched on it even when we talk about social media and things like that. They're going to be exposed to different things, but it's just enabling them to have the confidence to know what's right or wrong for them.
Mm-hmm. See, my conversations are a little bit different. Maybe having a boy, my conversations are, Kingston, don't put the cat in the dishwasher. Kingston, don't piss on your sister. Kingston, have you flushed the toilet? Kingston, have you brushed your teeth? Kingston, like, that's the era that I'm in.
I'm still laughing at Kingston, don't piss on your sister.
I probably need to explain that a little bit better.
Poor
so
kid.
Maybe in our bathroom, they like, you know, like they all like to hang out in, you know, in the parents' bathrooms. They all come in, they brush their teeth together. They're all like, it's, I actually find it's my favorite time of the day because as I'm washing my makeup off, they're both in there. They're telling me about their days. They just want to hang around. And so she was just like standing near the, like, you know, near the toilet. And he just, you know, decides to obviously have a pee as you do. And he's making alphabets or whatever he is in the
he's just
in the
being
toilet.
creative.
And
Poor Willow's in harm's way.
on her leg. Like, I'm like, oh my God, seriously. Anyway.
But I think it's like, would you have it any other way, to be honest? But is there, like, what would you say to anybody that was starting on the journey, and what would you say to yourself if you could go back and know what you know now?
I think it sounds so obvious, and it's something that I got told when I was first having babies, and that enjoy every moment. It goes so fast because it does. We have 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
We have almost had more time with them at home than what we have left.
Oh, 100%.
And that is scary to think.
Absolutely. And I felt the same way. I know we talked about that when we reflected on their parties. I was like, they're little people now.
Yeah.
And it does go really quick. I think the thing I would say is, like, it's going to be okay. Like, every minute that you think, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And I had those conversations countless times. And that's not what it looked like in social. It looks like you're nailing life. And, I think I've been very fortunate, as I know you have as well, where we've got that support system. But, like, there's always a solution. And also there's always someone who's willing to help you. Like, sometimes it's actually just picking up the phone and going, Farah, this is really hard. Are you finding this really hard?
Yeah.
Like, you're not alone. And I think that's the great thing that happens when you join this kind of mum club, for lack of a better term. It's like everybody's experienced or has gone through what you're going through, and you'll be fine. I think
no one's nailing it. No one's
nailing it. I'm still not nailing it. We often will have that conversation, won't we? Just going, I forgot this, or I neglected to say this, or I shouldn't have said that. Like, I think we're all just doing our best, and it's the same thing I'm saying to them as they go into the next phase. Like, we've got daughters going off into secondary school, and I'm like, you don't have to be the best, but you just have to try. And then you'll win, like, so as long as you're trying and you can look yourself in the mirror and go, I did my best today, that's all you can do. And I think at the end of it, that's how I look at motherhood as well.
What are your dreams and hopes for your daughters growing up?
That they know who they are, that they like who they are. Because I think when you like who you are, then you know what boundaries to have for people coming into your life, whether it be friends, partners, etc. And I think just be happy and healthy. Yeah. Happy and healthy. I think I've been very, very fortunate, touch wood, that's been our journey thus far. And that's all I want, for them to be happy and be healthy and know that we're always going to be there for them. What about you?
I agree. I want my kids to look back on their childhood and be like, God, I had a good childhood.
Yeah.
And that's why I will never say no to them wanting to have their friends over. I'm like, no, I'm like that house. I'm that mum. Yep, of course, so-and-so come over. I just want them to have fond memories of their childhood. I want them to be happy as well. I always say to them, doesn't matter what you want to do later on in life, just doesn't matter, just be happy.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're already definitely doing that. They're very happy kids. They're good kids.
We're both very lucky.
We are very, very lucky. So we've covered off some of our fails, which I think they're fine. They're okay. I can live with them. I think you can too. What are some of the things you're really proud of? And is there anything that you've learned? I know I have some feelings, particularly since even we've started this, but what are the things that you're proud of as a parent?
I'm proud of the bond that we have created with our kids. I know that sounds, a little bit silly because, you think parents have bonds, but like my kids will often say to us, oh, Mum, Dad, thank you so much. I just want to say I love my life.
Yeah.
And to me, that's it. That is just an absolute parent win. Also when, other families are like, oh God, your kids are so good. They've got the best manners. And I'm like, And
I think that's the thing people don't, that's been the privilege I've had of getting close to you, is how, and I can see you almost getting emotional when you talk about your kids and your family, like they are the center of your universe. Like,
why am I crying?
Because I think for you, you're going to make me cry. I'm way too fragile. But I think because for you, like, that is what is the most important thing. Like, yes, you'll sit in your oxygen chamber or whatever, and you'll put your makeup on and you'll do that. Yes. But at the core of it, like if someone said to me, who's Rosa? This is Rosa. This is Rosa.
Yeah. Ultimately, you just want your kids to be happy.
Yeah. I think you want your kids to be happy, and I think you're a better version of yourself.
Yes. Because
they are front and center for you, and you know that you're a mirror to them. But I'm going to tell you, if you're their mirror, the reflection's
Yeah.
pretty fucking good.
Thank you.
That's all right.
And you've got 2 beautiful girls as well. They're
Thank
the
you.
absolute sweetest. What are you most proud of?
I love that they're close. That really means a lot to me because my sister and I were always close and I wanted that for them, which is such a cliche with 2 girls.
Yeah.
And I love that they're great people. They're good people. They're well-mannered people, like, you know, like you said, when people come and say that. And I'm proud that they're at an age where they're proud of me and Liam and what we do. Like, I think for me, and, you know, it's probably highlighted when I told my fail of getting to the art show, which was the thing that, you know, I gave up styling for, because I feel like there were so many years where I did miss things because I was building. And they're at an age where, you know, particularly Ava, where I'm not going to get a lot of the, you know, the years we're about to do back, or they'll go really quickly, you know, and I don't want to miss things. So I'm really proud that they see how hard I'm working and understand that it's for them, because I think when they're little and you're doing things or you're sacrificing, they don't necessarily understand that. You know, like even when they came into the store, they're like, "This is great, Mum. This is so good. We're so proud of you." Like, that really means a lot because I'm doing it for them, you know. And I think it's been a great thing to sort of be open about this. We had a lot of questions that we didn't get to answer about how we do it all. But, you know, I think, as we've said previously, you can't do everything all the time at the same time anyway. And balance is something that you have to find for yourself, whatever works best, I think.
Well, that's the thing. I think motherhood is so different for every single person. And I think as long as it works for you, then, you know, I don't judge anyone.
No.
The way they parent, I'm like, do you know what? You do you. It doesn't affect me.
I think
so
that's
you do
probably
you.
the biggest thing that I would say is, like, judgment has left the building.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. You know that saying, you do you?
Yes.
Like, that's why sometimes the unsolicited advice, I don't need you to tell me what to do because I didn't ask.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone can be an expert, but
Yep.
my view is very much you just do whatever gets you through, which is probably a great segue to say a huge thank you to our first sponsor, Bondi Boost, for allowing us to have these conversations.
We have absolutely loved being on this couch.
We
have. This episode's been very cathartic.
I think so too. And I think sometimes it's okay to give each other a bit of a pat on the back. We're coming off what for us is probably our busiest season. I know for us it's gone probably on to another level with us doing this because, you know, we weren't busy enough. Let's add a podcast and a whole other business to the pile, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, it's been the highlight of my week sitting here with you.
Oh,
So
same, babe. We'll make sure that if you have any questions or any ideas or things that you might want us to talk about, be sure to drop us a DM. But thank you so much for joining us on The Archive.
we'll see you next time.